Welcome to the daily grind. I am your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded, and for anybody that is new here, what we do is basically go over crypto news. I update myself and I bring you along for the ride. Let's see who's in the chat and let's get into this. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind today. Mr. Leo Lustig, good morning, good to see you. We have All Set Miner, Overboard Tech. Let's see, Tim I Am Crypto, Nerd Beast, Andrew Masad, good morning, sir. Let's see who else is here. Lawnmower Man, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Backwards Miner, Black Hat Team, good morning. Good morning. All Track Yeti, good to see you, buddy. Crypto KJ, did you wet the bed? Not today. Not today, thankfully. I almost ate shit though. I walked outside, black ice everywhere. I had to take my trash out and I literally almost threw my back out because I almost ate shit and I caught myself. But yeah, that was fun. Dakota Miner, good to see you. Crypto Addict, what's up, buddy? And Crypto KJ, you're a pain in the ass. You're always trolling me. All right, let's get into this and see what everything's looking like today. Big oof in the chat. We got 43, 4, 5, 6. Everything's just red. It looks fine, right? Bitcoin's 43,000. We have Ethereum 2311. Let's see. We have DJ Mines in the house. Good morning, sir. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Dogecoin looks like 8 cents. We have ETC at 24.9. Wow, ETC rose a little bit. Nice. Solana's up to $105. Wow. What was it yesterday? I don't remember it being that high. That's awesome though. Hell yeah. We have LTC still undervalued in my opinion, 67 bucks. Let's see. We have Matic up to 80 cents. Anything else popping out at me? Not really. Kaspa's 10.6. Yeah, XRP 52 cents. Let's see. Let's go to Crypto Bubbles. Let's check out the week actually. What's the biggest earner on the week still? Man, there's a lot of big earners on the week. Holy hell. Look at all these double digits. Wow. Teo is up 80% on the week now. Wow, crazy. Let's just go to the day. Biggest earner of the day is Teo. Nice. Let's see. Again, this is Bit and Soar. If anybody doesn't know, $457. We have what is this? Pendle. I've never seen this one before. Ranked 98. Again, this is the top 100 coins. So yeah, some things just come into the top 100 that we've never heard of before. But yeah, I've never heard of this. You guys hear of this before? $2.70. Let me know in the chat. Render is up 9.9%. Wow, hell yeah. Look at that. Ranked 48. $4.49. Man, I think Render is going to be a sleeping giant, or it was a sleeping giant for a while, and now it's starting to pump. It's crazy, man. I wish I stayed in it. That's crazy. Sia or Say, is that how you say it? Say, I think it's Say. Why did I say Sia? Say. Anyways, 72 cents, up 11.6%. ADA up 7.8. Yeah, everything else really, nothing else really popping out at me. Thorchain up 10.3%, $4.69. We got a lot of stuff to get to today, so I'm just kind of cruising through all this stuff. If you guys have any questions at me in the chat, looks like we are looking at a fear and greed index of 61 in the greed. Again, until it gets over 75, I don't really pay too much attention to it, but we are, in my opinion, at least neutral as of right now. Market is still undecided because the Bitcoin halving is coming up soon. All right, top 10 coins, coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, XRP, USDC, Lado Staked, Ether, Cardano, and Avalanche still holding 10th place. Wow, it's actually rising a lot. I guess Dogecoin and that have. But yeah, it's holding nicely up in 10th place. Let's see, Shiba's in 19th if anybody cares. We have Litecoin in 21st place, Bitcoin Cash 22nd, ETC in 26th. Let's see, Monero's in 32nd. Kaspa is down to 42, but the price went up, so that's kind of strange. Anyways, everything is still holding strong. Arbitrum stayed in 41st place. Hedera took 40th. Interesting. Nice. All right, let's bump on to the mining segment of things. If you guys have any questions, again, just add me in the chat. But we do like to timestamp what the most profitable miners are here. Flux. Dan R is saying Flux. All right, fine. Hold on. Let's see. What's Flux? What's Flux doing? Is it pumping? Of course it is. No, it's only 1%. No, not much. 60 cents. Nice. Shout out to Flux. All right. I don't know why you told me to look at that, but anyways. The Wind Miner K9 is on the top of the charts. We have $73.60 a day. This is the 10.3 terahash unit. We have the KS3 from Ice River 8 terahash unit looking like $55. Yeah, $55.64. Sorry. The KS3M 6 terahash unit looking like $39.33. Man, at least, you know what? They're hovering pretty decently. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a lot of money per day, right? But the price of the machines that people paid for it, I hope you guys are close to ROI. And at this point, the Jazz Miner X16P is going to my man, Mr. Max Voltage. I actually got to open this thing up and then after I open it up, we're gonna be shipping it off to him. So I don't know if I'm gonna go live today at some point later on tonight, or if I'm just gonna do a video ripping this thing open. Let me know in the chat what you guys want. Do you want me to do a live stream, or do you guys want me to just do it on a video? Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna have to happen today, one way or the other. And if it doesn't work out for, you know, the schedule with the kids and the wife and stuff, then live might not be an option, but I'll try my best. You guys let me know what you want me to do. KS2, we have 2 terahash unit looking like $12.95 a day. That's a big oof. That sucks. That's going down pretty hard. We had the Jazzminer X16Q. Shout out to jinglemining.com. Steven Cicero on Crypto Cage. I love when I say that. 1950 for mega hashes, $6.68 a day. So it's man, what is this? Canixum? Is that how you say that? I don't remember how to say that. I don't know. Where is it? I really wish Mine the Ace would get their shit together and put an X on this. But anyways, it's the CAU coin right there. That is the top of the charts for that machine. All right, the 9050 Antminer L7. My unit is hosted down at Terra Hosting. If you guys are interested in any ASICs, actually, Terra Hashes just went live, and they do have a bunch of really good priced ASICs, and all of the prices that you guys see inside this is all directly to your door. No what's it called, tariffs or shipping fees. It's literally all in cost, so that's pretty awesome. It's nice to see that, instead of having, like, you know, those sites that give you a price and then later on you get whacked with tariffs and stuff. I know some guy that got two KS3Ms and he had to pay $6,000 in tariffs to get them from UPS. I almost threw up for him. It was awful. I couldn't believe it. It was terrible. Anyways, all right, let's see. Ice River KS0 Pro. Oh, guys, there is a new firmware update for this KS0 Pro, but I do not recommend it unless you have heat sinks on your board. My guy, Mr. Matt Electron, if any of my mods would like to put this video in the chat, please do. Matt Electron made a video putting heat sinks on his KS0 with an overclock, a previous overclock that you had to pay for. This one that has now been released is a 1% dev fee. If you guys use it, it just like kind of auto switches for 1% of the time. But regardless, it's a free overclock, and yeah, just make sure you guys are keeping these things cool, because you will burn something up. So watch both videos. If you guys have them, please throw them in the chat. If not, I'll put them down in the description below after this. Thank you, Steven Cicero. If you could throw the other guys in there too, I don't know his name, but the guy that did the actual firmware update and ripped apart his KS0, throw that one in there too. That would be awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, KS0 Pro 200 gigahash unit, making $1.33 a day. Let's see. We have the original KS0, which you can also overclock. I think they have overclocks for every Kaspa miner, if I'm not mistaken. The KS3, KS1, KS2 included. But KS0 original 100 gigahash unit, 65 watts, looks like 63 cents a day. Bruh. Oh, it's terrible. Anyways, my KS0 original is actually getting worked on right now over with my man Crypto 440. He's trying to put a 6-pin on it, which is going to be pretty cool. All right, let's see. Biggest earners of the day over on hashrate.no for GPU mining. Looks like Carlson and Pyron back on the top of the charts. Wow, I didn't see that coming. 4070. Actually, you know what? I did a video, or I have to do a video. I did all the overclocking yesterday. It took me hours on Mr. Joker Miner's 4070 Super. So I got to put out a video on that, hash rates and overclocks for 10 different coins in under 5 minutes. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. But I did overclocks for these ones. Let's see. Conflux or Radiant. I did Radiant. I didn't do Conflux. Chlor is pretty much just Kapow, so you guys can go off Raven coins. BTG's on the top of the charts. Look at that. Nice. Honestly, there's yeah, nothing's really changed too much. No new coins that I noticed. So all right, let's get into the news segment of things. I know we have a lot to watch and listen to, so I want to kind of pump through this. Let's see real quick. Patrick PvP said, hey, what should I do with 2 kilowatts of solar that's not being used? Do you have any miners? Just wondering. If you have miners and you have things, I mean, that's, you could definitely do something with it. Maybe run like, I don't know. I mean, it depends. Yeah, I would just mine something. You really have to get something that's I mean, hook those up to it then. 3060s. This is 3 3060s. I mean, you can hook those up to it. And if you have solar, I mean, shit, just mine with one and see how much power it draws for a day, and then go to the next. All right, let's get into this. We'll do a little recap and AMA at the end if you guys want. Investors should brace for the markets to hit an air pocket after recent rally, says Tom Lee. So this guy Tom Lee is usually on point with his predictions. So I want you guys to kind of watch this. It's only like a 2-minute clip. So let's do it. And guys, please hit that like button, or Max Voltage is going to show you his cleavage. Ready?
You guys don't get to 100 likes. I'm going to show you my cleavage.
I appreciate Max for that soundbite, by the way.
Came on last call last time. You made an interesting prediction. I want to play that. Here it is.
I think it's possible that we make a minor new high before the end of the month, and then we might have something like a 7% drawdown.
Since then, the Dow and S&P 500 have hit record highs. I mean, I think we're on track now for 5 days of new records. Are you still predicting a pullback, and what would be the catalyst there?
Well, as that clip said, we expected new highs by late January, which was on schedule. And I think this week is going to tell us how much further we go. You know, we were sort of penciling in 5,000.
I think Jerome Powell speaks this week, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Could maybe go higher. But from there, yeah, I think an air pocket forms because, one, as you sort of pointed out, investors will get nervous about the Fed and when they start tightening. And parabolic moves, which we've had since October of 2023, usually end in a pretty big retracement. So I do think we continue to be strong, but then, yeah, then after that, I think there's a big air pocket.
So we've talked a lot about the Fed here. Let's talk about earnings. You've got Alphabet and Microsoft tomorrow. On Thursday, you have Amazon and Meta. We've seen these big tech companies really focus on efficiency and where they're spending and where they need to pull back. And it looks like restraining some of the spending where jobs are concerned. What do you expect out of earnings, and how might that propel the markets?
Well, this is the biggest week for earnings. I mean, 108 companies report. The FANGs are reporting, you know, both Tuesday and Thursday. And, you know, these companies, I mean, they're big, but they do operate in different spaces. So I think if you have disappointments, let's say you have something disappointing from Apple, I don't think it's going to necessarily weaken the market broadly. It's going to hurt anyone who owns it. But I think for the most part, I think earnings have been delivering. I mean, this has been a pretty decent earnings season, and I think it's really confirming earnings this year should be up double digits.
What about the jobs report? What are you expecting to come through in that? Because the layoffs, they have been so headline grabbing, but you know, yeah. We've seen such a labor squeeze from smaller businesses. It's not clear that they're eager to do layoffs.
You know, the jobs report is getting harder to predict, right? Because the response rates are lower, and there's been a pretty big divergence between the household survey and ADP and the jobs report. So it is a little bit of a crapshoot to see, but it's still important. And you know, I wouldn't want to see a really bad report. I wouldn't want to see negative jobs, but a softening jobs market would be good.
Tom, it's great to see you on this Monday.
Interesting. I just put his link to his Twitter in the chat. Elliot asked for it, so there you go, buddy. I just looked him up for you, and I wasn't following him either, so I am now. Thank you for that. All right, let's see. Blockchain technology is the future of the internet, says key crypto investor Chris Dixon. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television.
Our next guest is one of the most influential investors in the world of crypto. Chris Dixon is a general partner in Andreessen Horowitz. He leads the firm's crypto arm with $7.6 billion under management. Notable investments include Coinbase, Uniswap, Solana, which is up big now, and OpenSea. This week, he's out with a new book. It is titled right here, Read, Write, Own, Building the Next Era of the Internet. Chris, I want to thank you.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. Thank you.
There's about a
million. You know what I love, actually? The fact that they start talking about Solana and all this stuff now in the news. It's not just Bitcoin anymore. I love how they keep mentioning Solana. I feel like it's going to be crazy explosive this year.
Questions I have, and I want to get to the book and talk about the book. But before we hit the book, I just want to understand. I think we're all trying to understand what's just happened with the SEC and this Bitcoin ETF. Yeah. And what it means, not just for Bitcoin, but potentially for the Solanas of the world and everything else.
Yeah. So, you know, I think crypto has been a technology that's controversial, and I think any institutional acceptance like the ETF is a good thing, is a net positive. That said, I'm very focused on, and our firm is very focused on investing in entrepreneurs building new utilities, new applications that are used by hundreds of millions and eventually billions of people. So let's focus on financial instruments. But I think it's a net positive.
You separate the idea of crypto money crypto, versus like utility crypto, if you will.
Yeah.
And how much of a future you think money crypto really has?
Well, I think payments, DeFi, Bitcoin, these are all important applications. I view blockchains as an expansive technology. It's a new way to build internet services. Those services can be games, they can be social networks, they can be financial services. And so the financial part is important.
Ooh, real quick, speaking of games, actually, if you guys know that new game Pal World, right? Like the biggest earner on Steam so far, like the biggest pre-sale or whatever. I don't know. It's on the top of the charts on Steam. That's all I know. Neoxa, that cryptocurrency, they just opened up their first server there, so you guys can go play over there. Also, I think they're working on the play to earn, which is going to be amazing. So shout out to the Neoxa team for putting that together.
But I think in a lot of ways it's been overplayed in the discussions. And so one of the things I try to do in my book is describe all of the different expansive use cases for the technology.
So,
real quick. Good morning, Mr. Geek of all trades. Thanks for stopping by.
Solana is one of those that actually has a big use case. It's like Ethereum.
Yeah.
A, I'm curious if you think that turns into its own ETF, but B, where you think it really goes.
Yeah, I mean, the specific ETFs, I think that'll play out for a long time. I think there's some discussion of the Ethereum ETF. I mean, I think this technology is inevitable. I think this is the future of the internet. So I think over time you will see greater and greater acceptance of ETFs and other kinds of financial instruments. So, but I think that will take time. And our focus is on investing in early stage entrepreneurs, and we see a lot of innovation.
ETF would never be something you'd look at. It's too far down the road.
For us? No, yeah, we're generally early stage investors, and so we're really looking. We're meeting with entrepreneurs. They have a lot of really interesting ideas. We think this is a really interesting new technology for building new internet services, and so that's kind of our focus.
Yeah.
But
can I ask you, talking about investing in early entrepreneurs and different ideas that are coming out of crypto. One big idea, or seemed like a big idea, was NFTs. You own OpenSea.
Yeah.
There, it was the hottest thing in the world. Everybody wanted to get themselves a chimp, a monkey, if you remember. And now nobody wants a chimp or a monkey. Maybe you think that they do. What happens to that, this idea of tokenizing art?
Yeah. Well, I think that's been the sort of death of NFTs has been exaggerated. So last year there were $8.7 billion, 2023, $8.7 billion in sales of NFTs. And remember, this is a technology it
still blows my mind how much those NFTs go for. I don't understand it. But hey, listen, people are into like cards and stuff, so it makes sense why people like NFTs.
It was standardized and basically invented in 2020. So it's a very early technology. And I think like a lot of technologies, you go through these kind of boom bust cycles. And the other thing I would say is that a lot of people think about NFTs as sort of avatars. In fact, it's a very expansive technology. So for example, you can use NFTs. We see a lot of musicians using NFTs to sell digital merchandise to their audiences and create new income streams to supplement streaming, which doesn't pay them very well. Right. We see people using NFTs for new social networks, and the advantage there is in existing social networks, you're locked in, and if you build an audience, you can't leave, and if they change the algorithm, you're stuck with it. With social networks built using NFTs, the users have the power to leave. So it's a very broad technology. I think we've only scratched the surface, and I think it's got a long way to go, and we're very excited about it.
I think NFTs have a real purpose once they get to, like I said, car titles, house deeds, things along those lines, medical records, like that shit makes sense, but the picture thing doesn't really to me. Dan R said Solana foxes are 20 Solana each. I don't even know what a Solana fox is. I'm going to have to look it up.
Separate question around crypto, which is a lot of people look at crypto and think there's no regulation to all of this. And not only is there very little regulation, I mean, we still don't have meaningful regulation, that the venture capitalists...
Hold on. This is Solana foxes? What is this? Famous foxes? What? This is a thing? What is this? What's happening? Dude, there's so much shit in crypto. It's like you can never wrap your head around everything. All right, sorry.
Community is not effectively properly regulating the business insofar as looking at the investments in the right way, doing diligence and the like. I've made the argument, I'm curious if you agree or disagree with this. I said to people, especially this is after the FTX of it all, which, by the way, it looks now, if you're a creditor of FTX, you're going to get all your money and possibly more, which is so interesting. Partially on the back of Solana, something you've invested in. But I said, look, most venture capitalists are buying, 10, 20, 30 investments. They expect, 10 or 20 of them to go to zero. How they get to zero is almost beside the point. And so the kind of diligence that somehow the public is expecting from the venture world is not matched with reality. Do you agree with that?
No, I mean, look, we take the regulatory and policy aspects of this area very seriously. We have a significant policy team. We've been publishing and articles on policy and calling for greater regulatory clarity for a long time. I personally go to DC a lot, so we take this stuff very seriously. We were not investors in FTX for those reasons. That we did see red flags, and we've been involved with Coinbase for many years. Coinbase is a very heavily regulated business. They, Bank Secrecy Act, KYC, since the beginning. So, we take this stuff very seriously. Yes, it's true that venture capital is risky, and we do lose money in a lot of investments. But we're based in the U.S. and we take U.S. regulation very, very seriously, and we're strong advocates for more guardrails around the technology.
We've been talking a lot about AI. You write in your book about AI and tokenization and the need for that, especially when it comes to this idea of deep fakes. We just saw this deep fake of Taylor Swift that was taken down, but after 50 some odd million people saw it last week. What does that mean long term?
Yeah, so I'm very excited about AI. Obviously, our firm invested in a lot of AI. It's a very powerful new technology. Take something like deepfakes, that's going to become it's going to be increasingly common. And you're also going to see, very advanced phishing, very advanced counterfeit people. It's going to be very hard to tell on the internet what's real and what isn't. I believe, and I write in the book, that blockchains are an important countermeasure to that. So, for example, a blockchain creates an immutable audit trail. So you can have an immutable audit trail of this video that says this video came from CNBC. It came from the New York Times.
Should that be required for any of the social media?
I think that's a policy approach that should really be looked at. So I think in the ideal world,
meaning from the U.S. government.
Yeah, I think it would probably have to come. I think it would have to be.
Nobody's going to voluntarily.
I think it's hard to get a lot of different parties to coordinate without some kind of government action. I think the right way to do that is to have some kind of provenance. You have a record of where did this video come from? Is it real? And then on social networks you have some enforcement, so they don't show those fake videos. This is going to become an increasingly important issue, and we need to think about it now.
It's been an important issue. There are ads all over the place. Michael Saylor, complete deep fake, telling you guys you're going to get free Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever.
How to counter those things, because we don't want an internet awash with fake people and phishing and deepfakes. This is a real problem. we may already have it. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they do have to have some sort of regulation. Anyways, all right, CNBC Crypto World. Bitcoin reclaims 43,000 as the cryptocurrency extends recent gains. Let's see what they got to say, guys. Hit that like button, please. Appreciate you.
You guys don't get to 100 likes. I'm going to show you my cleavage.
Today,
thanks, Max Voltage. Thanks for doing that.
Chris Dixon of the crypto-friendly VC firm Andreessen Horowitz says institutional adoption of crypto is a net positive. BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF becomes the first of those launched to reach $2 billion in assets under management. And Coinbase's chief security officer, Philip Martin, breaks down the company's role in many of the spot ETFs.
All right, Geek of All Trades said this is why Project Mayhem is important, an AI validation tool that is decentralized, not owned by any company that can be manipulated. Very, very true, sir. I didn't smash the like button faster after hearing that, LMAO. If you guys didn't see Saturday Night Live, that was so funny when Max did that.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Segala.
He didn't do it, actually. You just said it.
Digital currencies kicking off the week in the green, with Bitcoin climbing more than 2%, trading back above the $43,000 level. Now, at the same time, Ether also rising to $22.99, and the Matic token jumping to 81 cents.
You know what? Real quick in the chat, Yusuf said, who cares if you fall for a scam? That's on you. I assume that's what he meant to say. But, I mean, yes, it is. At the end of the day, it's on you, right? But realistically, it's human nature. Some people are gullible. That's just how it is, man. People are looking for any way out of what is going on in their life, and they're going to try to do something that seems to be worth it, right? But, at the end of the day, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's a couple things you guys need to understand.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Andreessen Horowitz general partner Chris Dixon joined Squawk Box this morning, where he discussed the SEC's spot Bitcoin ETF decision. He acknowledged that crypto has been a controversial technology and said that any institutional acceptance, like these ETFs, is a net positive.
The specific ETFs, I think that'll play out for a long time. I think there's some discussion of the Ethereum ETF. I think this technology is inevitable. I think this is the future of the internet. So I think over time you will see greater and greater acceptance of ETFs and other kinds of financial instruments. So, but I think that will take time.
Dixon also argued that the death of NFTs has been exaggerated. The firm predicted in its Big Ideas for 2024 that the technology would become ubiquitous brand assets. Next up, BlackRock's Spot Bitcoin ETF is the first of those launched this month to hit $2 billion in assets under management. Now, this doesn't include Grayscale's GBTC, which had nearly $30 billion in assets under management when it converted into a spot ETF post-approval from the SEC a little more than 2 weeks ago. According to the numbers that we reviewed, WisdomTree has around $8.5 million in assets under management, and ARK21 Shares has $604 million. The rest of the funds are in between those numbers. Last up, now that the SEC has approved spot Bitcoin ETFs in the United States, the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission reportedly received its first application for a spot ETF. Citing a local news outlet, Cointelegraph reported today that one of China's largest fund managers, Harvest Hong Kong, submitted an application to the commission on Friday, and that the regulator was working to expedite the approval process with the hope of launching the first Hong Kong spot Bitcoin ETF after the Chinese New Year on February 10th. Harvest Fund might not be the only application for these products, as several regional financial institutions have reportedly signaled their interest in launching spot Bitcoin ETFs this year. All right, for our main story, I had the chance to speak with Philip Martin, the chief security officer over at Coinbase, about the company's role in the spot Bitcoin ETFs now trading here in the U.S., and how the exchange is preparing for a potential uptick in crypto bad actors. Okay, so the Bitcoin ETFs are still a big story for the industry. Coinbase, of course, is a primary custodian for many of these ETFs trading here in the U.S. Can you talk about how important that new investment vehicle is for Coinbase and why you were the partner to go with for many of these issuers?
Absolutely. So we're the primary custodian for 10 of the 13 ETFs that have launched. And I think the ETF is a really important tool. I think
I've never seen this guy before, the chief security officer for Coinbase.
It brings the ability for consumers to get access to Bitcoin if they don't want to own the actual coins themselves in a way that has less exposure to custodial risk. I also think that the process we went through with these ETF issuers was extensive, right? We have 14,000 institutional customers. The process with every single one of them is extensive. And really speaks to the investments that we have made in our security program and security team since we were founded in 2012.
How much is custody for Wall Street and the security around custody a focus for Coinbase this year? Do you think that as we see more adoption of crypto and TradFi, there will be more security threats you'll have to prepare for?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Since the very beginning, right, Coinbase has been targeted by adversaries of all skill levels. We have successfully defended against and will continue to see attacks from adversaries ranging from North Korea all the way down to individual attackers out there on the internet. And I think the critical thing here is that the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs is actually not a huge shift in our overall security posture. We've been building this way since the beginning. We have, as of Q3, we had $114 billion in assets on the platform. And so we really see this as just another day of focusing on building the easiest to use and most trusted platform in cryptocurrency.
So Bitwise tweeted out the wallet addresses for its spot Bitcoin ETF holdings. It says that it's the first of the ETF providers to do so and pointed to it as a win for transparency. What do you make of a move like that? Is this something that more ETF providers and their custodians should consider?
It's an interesting and unique to crypto component of this kind of custodial arrangement. I think that transparency for consumers, for investors is always a good thing. I think in this particular case, people have to realize what they're seeing, right? Addresses on the blockchain absolutely contain evidence of cryptocurrency, but sharing an address doesn't necessarily prove ownership of those assets. Neither does it prove anything about the off-chain condition of any entity, whether it be an exchange or ETF issuer or whatnot. So I see it as absolutely a positive step, but certainly not an end-all, be-all of proving the safety or security of assets.
So now that these ETFs have potentially opened up a whole new wave of crypto interest, do you think it will also pave the way for a new wave of bad actors? And how should ETF investors trust that their investments and the issuers they're trusting with their investments are safe?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can tell you from firsthand experience the amount of diligence that these issuers have done is just extremely extensive. I think that as consumers think about cryptocurrency exposure, whether that's via an ETF or whether it's anything else, and really when you get down to it, when consumers think about the increasing role of the internet in their everyday lives, it's something I encourage every single person to do, whether they're a cryptocurrency investor or not, is really take a look at their online security posture, really make sure they understand what the signs and symptoms of common scams and common attacks on consumers are, and then really dial in on the security of their phone number and their email address. Those are really the two foundations for online security in this day and age. And focusing on those the same way you would focus on locking a credit report or on locking your house and stopping your mail after you go on vacation is the way you should be thinking about the security of those core assets.
What do these ETFs mean for the industry? And what's your outlook more broadly for 2024?
Yeah. I think the ETFs really provide a very interesting vehicle for consumers who maybe to date weren't confident enough to explore the world of cryptocurrency. I also think that they really should encourage more stable risk management and market infrastructure. Over the next year, I'm excited to see what will happen with these ETFs. Quite honestly, I think this is really a special moment for crypto, and one that I've been in this space for closing in on 8 years now at Coinbase. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that I cannot predict the future in cryptocurrency, and certainly not in market structure and ETFs. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen.
Going back to the other part of Coinbase's business, trading crypto directly, obviously 2023 was a comeback year for crypto, though trading volumes were low, but 2024 might be looking up. Are you preparing for more crypto investors to come back to Coinbase to buy crypto directly? And what should first-time crypto investors keep in mind for safety?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always preparing. The ups and downs of the crypto industry are I think unique, at least in my experience, in that they happen quickly and with very, very little warning. And so the only way to really be successful in crypto is to always be planning for that next spike, that next crypto summer, as we call it. I think first-time investors in crypto, if they're looking for direct exposure, need to focus on, number one, who their counterparties are, who they're doing business with. Ensure that those counterparties have a track record and a reputation of doing things the right way. Two, I think those first-time investors need to take a second look at their online security. Need to make sure that they are focused on doing the right things, on using two-factor authentication, on the security of their phone number, their email address, so that we can then in turn do our part about ensuring that the consumers, once they come to Coinbase, assuming they choose Coinbase as their partner, will have a safe, secure, and easy to use experience.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but we will be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.
Shout out to CNBC Television for that, guys. Keep the chat clean, please. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into this. So this is super important to listen to. I started listening to some of it. Lark Davis is a brilliant man, okay? And he actually explains the Bitcoin halving. I know a lot of you guys already know what it is, but he kind of gets into the nitty-gritty of it and why it's so much more important this time than it is, from the previous halvings, okay? It's actually going to be more scarce than gold this time around, and it's going to be a better store of value. So let's listen to this together. If you guys have any questions, at me in the chat. Please hit that like button. I appreciate you all. Hate asking, but YouTube makes me. Let's do it.
I'm not going to waste your time. Here's a no BS explanation of the Bitcoin halving. With less than 90 days to go until the next Bitcoin halving, it's time to discuss why this event is so incredibly important for the entire cryptocurrency space, not just for Bitcoin. So what's Bitcoin halving? Well, put simply, every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that miners are rewarded for running the network is cut in half. So right now, every 10 minutes, approximately, there's a new block created that gets encoded into the network. From April, the block rewards that those guys get for doing that work gets cut in half. Now, this mechanism was established to ensure that early rewards for the network were there while also slowly decreasing inflation over time to ensure longevity of the network. Now, this has been associated with broader market cycles in crypto. Essentially, Bitcoin halvings happen and a bull run starts shortly after. The next halving, again, April this year. So get ready.
It's like
But
80 days
interestingly,
away.
one of the reasons why the Bitcoin halving is such a mystery to many people is because no matter how many times you go and read over Satoshi's visionary Bitcoin white paper, you're not actually going to find any mention of a Bitcoin halving in there. In fact, the only deflationary mechanism that you're going to find in Bitcoin's proof of work section is actually just adjusting the mining difficulty for Bitcoin, as stated, increasing hardware speed and varying interest in running nodes, where if Bitcoin is mined too quickly, the difficulty of obtaining it will increase, okay? But it wasn't until a couple of months later after that that Satoshi Nakamoto turned the concept of Bitcoin into a reality, using the cypherpunk mailing list to distribute Bitcoin's source code out to a bunch of, well, you know, hardcore computer nerds, basically. Bitcoin's remaining deflation mechanisms were introduced thereafter. A hard cap of exactly 21 million Bitcoins exists, and having the amount distributed every 4 years is what the halving does. Fun fact, the last Bitcoin halving will be in 2140 approximately. It's a long time from now. Our grandchildren will see it. Now let's talk about the history.
It's going to be like fractions, obviously, fractions of a Bitcoin. It's not even going to be close. And it's crazy how far it is away and how long it actually stretches out. And we're only going to be at 3 in like 80 days, right? It's like 3.125, I believe, per block after the halving.
Of Bitcoin halvings. This is very interesting. Since the introduction of Bitcoin, we've had 3 halving events take place. The first occurred in 2012, cutting the reward of Bitcoin from 50 per block down to 25.
Oh my
block.
God. Can you guys imagine 50 per block? Who was in then? Put a 1 in the chat if you were into crypto mining back then.
Shortly afterward, many miners who were over leveraged ended up throwing in the towel. The Bitcoin mining game is a pretty brutal business. This caused the difficulty of mining Bitcoin to adjust and become easier for miners that remained. It's a self-correcting mechanism. A year later, almost to the day, we saw our first Bitcoin bull run.
Look at that, 900. Oh, damn it. It moved. $900 or so, almost $1,000. Man, could you imagine that feeling? Went from 6 cents to almost $1,000. I mean, I guess it's going to be the same feeling we have soon.
First Bitcoin bull run. Bitcoin saw its second halving event.
I lost all my Bitcoin in a boating accident
in 2016, dropping the reward again, because that's what the halvings do, per block from 25 Bitcoin down to 12.5 Bitcoin. Following in line with the previous halving, Bitcoin kicked off its second major.
Look at that. Look at that. So it went up to almost 20K, as you guys know, and this is the 2017 to 2018 bull run, right? It's the same thing repeats over and over and over.
Your bull run 1 year later. Then, like beautiful.
Sorry, it doesn't repeat. It often rhymes.
2020 rolls around, and the Bitcoin reward gets cut in half again. But with Bitcoin's popularity greater than during any of the previous halvings, things are starting to change a little bit. This is the first time that the price of Bitcoin saw an immediate impact. Now, it was perhaps a bit slightly less exciting than it would have been because of the pandemic in 2020, but still Bitcoin kept Bitcoining. It's what it does, giving us our third major bull run the following year and pushing the price higher than we'd ever seen it before, up to about 70K, solidifying our current all-time high. Currently, about 900 Bitcoin a day are given to miners as the reward for running the network. That is going to drop to 450 in April when the Bitcoin halving happens, 225 in 2028 when the next Bitcoin halving happens, 112.5 in 2032 when miners will actually start receiving less than 1 BTC per block for the first time in history. At some point, the impact of Bitcoin halvings, I believe, will diminish, and the 4-year cycle that has dominated crypto for so many years will probably go away. But until that happens, the 4-year cycle around the Bitcoin halving remains a proven theory.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of agree. The halving cycles aren't going to mean as much, I think, after this one. This one is probably like the final push for a huge jump after the halving. Do you guys agree? Because going down from, you know, I don't know, from 6 to 3, like that's the last like really big jump, right? And then we're just going to be going to 1. So it's like you're not losing as much. The last move that we saw when we went up to almost 70K, it was what, 12 down to 6. So it was pretty significant then too. I think we're going to see this is going to be like the super cycle, and then we'll see what happens. But
so how do you get ready for this Bitcoin halving thing? Did you do anything? No, you don't need to do anything. Okay. What you should do to prepare for the halving, just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
But you know what? It actually all goes off of the overall price of Bitcoin too, right? Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, trade like snipes, right? It's still a 50% cut, which is so true, right? But I just think I don't know. I mean, it really does. It depends on the price of Bitcoin. That's really what it comes down to. If price of Bitcoin doesn't appreciate like crazy, then the halving's not going to mean as much, I guess, right?
If you're listening, of course, to the naysayers and haters out there, they're going to tell you it's the end of Bitcoin. Completely not true. Bitcoin miners just everything will be fine. Maybe there will be a price correction afterwards, anticipation, reality, buy the rumor, sell the news, all that kind of stuff. But history tells us that something very different is taking place.
See how it's so much more parabolic every time the halving happens, just because like the amount of Bitcoin that's actually taken away is way more significant, right? It's halved, right? Yes, that's true. But at the end of the day, it's way less. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of why this curve happens, right? Because it kind of is just going to like flatten out a little bit. I mean, even though we'll still get all-time highs, it's just going to not be as crazy.
Here, placing each halving event side by side paints a beautiful picture for investors, a beautifully bullish picture. Historically, there's no better time to invest in Bitcoin than before a Bitcoin halving occurs, although the 6 months after the Bitcoin halving, probably still a pretty good time to buy in most cases. Not because I or anyone else says so, by the way, but it's just the laws of supply and demand. They're what prove it. With every reduction of the Bitcoin block reward, the price of Bitcoin has jumped significantly by the following year. Because demand keeps going up, doesn't it? While not impacting the price immediately, the long-term effects of each Bitcoin halving should not be ignored. Of course, guys, this is Bitcoin, and we do love to speculate on what the price could be. No one really knows. We all like to have our guesses, with the halving, of course, being the only bullish event we've always been able to count on. Going back to the beginning of time, back to the previous halving, we can see that as evidence. In 2020, speculators believed that Bitcoin would peak somewhere between $350,000 and $450,000 by the following year. So this is a warning to remember price predictions are just that, okay? Everyone's got a price prediction like butts, but some of them stink. We're tracing back to around $200,000 by 2024 around the halving, but that's not what happened, right? Nice wish. But of course, never happened.
Again, this full video and the link to this guy's channel is in the description below if anybody's interested.
Bitcoin never does exactly what you think it's going to do price-wise, although it just does go up long in the wrong run, right? Price action peaked around 70K November 2021, which is great. I thought it was going to 100K. Didn't happen. Say la vie. Falling short, of course, of reaching anything what was being speculated, though. Again, wild speculations coming out back at the time. But by the time the 2021 Bitcoin halving bull run finished, Bitcoin's price had already increased by over 530%. Not bad at all for Bitcoin, right? That's okay. As new factors like the Bitcoin ETF are now coming into play, Bitcoin become even more linked to the equity market movements going forward. And thus, again, as mentioned, that long-term impact of Bitcoin halvings may start to diminish over time as a predictive tool for like, okay, this is when a new market cycle starts, go. But if the past rhymes, then the chance to buy reasonably priced Bitcoin and altcoins is running out. So
real quick, he gets into like the meat and potatoes here in a second, but Douglas said ETF option traders are going to love the God candles BTC will produce, but there is a catalyst to that, right? The market moves in an ETF like 20% and they shut it down for the day. There is no more trading. So they're going to love and hate it, because guess what? When this shit moons, and we all sell because you can with your own Bitcoin in your own custody on Coinbase or wherever, you're going to be a step ahead of those people with the ETFs. Do you know what I mean? Their money's going to get stuck. Yours isn't. So keep that in mind.
Maybe have 9 more months from the time that you watch this video. So is the 2024 halving really going to be different? well, with more interest in Bitcoin than any previous halving. Of course, it's always different, but it's always kind of the same too. Experts like Kathy Woods believe that this time is indeed different, but not for the reasons that you might think, besides the obvious reasons of just less Bitcoin being released each year, each month, each week, each day by the miners, making the existing supply, of course, more valuable, all while demand continues to rise. So there's that to factor in. Also, Bitcoin is going to cross a pivotal moment when the block reward is actually reduced this year, because for the first time in history, the amount of Bitcoin available to mine each year will be reduced to less than 1% of the total supply. Not only that, this year's halving event puts the supply growth rate of Bitcoin below that of gold for the first
You guys heard that, right?
time ever.
Real quick, let's go back. I just want you guys to make sure you guys hear that. All right.
Available to mine each year.
Let me go back.
Moment when the block reward is actually reduced this year, because for the first time in history, the amount of Bitcoin available to mine each year will be reduced to less than 1% of the total supply.
And less than 1% of the total supply. That's a big deal.
Not only that, this year's halving event,
and then this is crazy,
puts the supply growth rate of Bitcoin below that of gold for the first time ever,
which is crazy,
making Bitcoin officially a better store value than gold. Also,
and you know, do you think you know, what's it called, Larry Fink? You think he's stupid? I'm sure he knows this, right? And he's been completely orange pilled. If you guys haven't heard, man, there was a video I watched the other day. I don't know if I did it on the Daily Grind. I can't remember, but I watched it myself, and it was very, very interesting to hear. I think it was I did watch it with you guys actually. It was Anthony Scaramucci that said it, and it was crazy to know, or like he was kind of praising Larry Fink, saying like it takes a great leader to, you know, take a step back and actually do the research and say, hey, I was wrong on this. This is a brilliant technology, even though I don't believe in, you know, the Bitcoin itself or whatever however he puts it. He believes in blockchain technology. It's just, the whole thing is just, it's crazy. This is going to explode.
Thanks to the Bitcoin ETF, owning Bitcoin is now easier than any previous halving, opening up a floodgate of potential capital to come into the market. And the development of Bitcoin layer 2 technology like ordinals, the Lightning Network, Rootstock, all this stuff, that's all helped to reduce the amount of Bitcoin in circulation because people are using Bitcoin on these different layer 2 networks. Now, here's an interesting thing to consider.
Once people start to realize how scarce Bitcoin actually is and how good of a store of value it actually is, it's going to be nuts.
2012's having 10.5 million Bitcoin supply. 2016's having, we had 15.7 million Bitcoin out there. 2020's having 18.375 million. And then in 2024's having, we're going to have around 19.7 million Bitcoin, which represents almost 97% of the entire supply. In 2028, we'll be at 20.3 million Bitcoin, which will represent around 98% of the total supply of Bitcoin that will ever exist.
That's crazy. This crazy is already that much out. Mr. DJ Death Star, appreciate you for the $2 super chat sticker. Thank you with the thumbs up.
Crazy.
Appreciate it,
crazy.
buddy.
How the halving affects price can be illustrated also if you look at something like the stock to flow model, which has had its criticisms in the past, but still useful reference, showing us how the scarcity of Bitcoin directly affects the price over time. You can see at the dark purple areas have always indicated the best buying opportunities for investors looking to get reasonably priced, good value Bitcoin. So why are the Bitcoin halving so important? We know why it's important for us. It's the ka-ching, ka-ching, baby. The Bitcoin halvings are about more than just the price of Bitcoin. They're actually pretty good for the overall health of the Bitcoin network too, keeping miners and basically every participant bound to this strict set of rules that can never be manipulated. Remember, Bitcoin's monetary policy is set. The halvings remind us all why Bitcoin is the best damn store value in town that we can own, helping reduce the supply of Bitcoin coming into markets, new emissions every 4 years. Seems like a pretty straightforward thing to do and a pretty cool idea. I mean, Satoshi, this dude thought it out, didn't he? What a genius. But it affects more than the amount of Bitcoin just being produced. It also affects the amount of Bitcoin available for purchase, because Bitcoin miners are some of the biggest sellers in the market, and they are about to have their ability to sell Bitcoin reduced by half. Now, the first two halving events, the amount of Bitcoin available for purchase actually increased because miners are getting so much Bitcoin, it was outstripping demand. It's changed recently. Starting with the 2020 halving, the amount of Bitcoin available started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's the available purchase on exchanges. With more than 19.5 million Bitcoin mined already, only less than 2 million are available for purchase on exchanges. Imagine that. That's crazy, man.
That's
with
nuts.
each halving, this amount decreases, by the way. Following the 2020 halving, we actually saw the amount of Bitcoin available for purchase drop by more than 20%. And while this is happening, the amount of addresses holding 1 Bitcoin or more keeps rising. So if the halving was a selling event, wouldn't the amount of addresses holding 1 Bitcoin shrink?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Food for thought. People are holding.
That's a really good point. I feel like that's something Max Voltage would say, actually.
75% of Bitcoin has not moved on chain over a year. People are holding long term. This may be the last chance event here. Last chance to get Bitcoin at the lowest price, if not for the next year, possibly forever. Grain of salt. It's also a chance for us all to stop and think about the all-time highs and start looking at the all-time lows and thinking about, where is Bitcoin going? That's because within the first 6 months of every halving, Bitcoin posts its lowest price available post-halving forever. We're never seeing a $100 Bitcoin again, a $1,000 Bitcoin, or even a $10,000 Bitcoin again. Don't pay attention to the bears, okay?
Man,
Each halving is without a doubt the best time ever to buy Bitcoin, historically speaking anyway. Thanks for watching.
Honestly, shout out to Lark Davis because that video was fantastic. If you guys could share that with anybody that would be interested, please do so, because that is a very important video for people to listen to and understand. That's just my opinion. Mr. Leo Lustig, appreciate you for the $5 super chat. He said only half of us have smashed the like. Let's go, people. Well, you know what Max Voltage would say.
You guys don't get to 100 likes. I'm going to show you my cleavage.
All right, let's see what Altcoin Daily has to say. Largest company on earth just flipped on crypto. I haven't watched this yet. I want to see what he says. Bitcoin can jump to $1 million in a matter of weeks. No, I don't believe that at all. That's a bunch of bullshit, but let's see what he has to say here.
Because of that limited supply and because of that rapid injection of capital, you have a multiplier effect.
Google has just revised their guidelines to allow Bitcoin ETFs to advertise their products. We're already seeing these major behemoths in finance like Van.
My only concern with this, right? They're allowing these ETF ads now. I mean, they're already allowing the deep fakes and shit to happen, right? As like advertisements on our YouTube channels that we can't control. It happens, right? It's deep fakes like Michael Saylor and all this other shit. That's my biggest concern with this ETF stuff. There's going to be random ass QR codes and people saying shit that isn't real. And it's just please, guys, please be careful and make sure you guys are not like scanning codes when they're telling you they're going to give you free shit. Okay. It's not going to happen.
Like BlackRock, like Franklin Templeton, start on day one, and from how it started back in 2018 when Google banned all Bitcoin advertising to how it's going today.
Well, how the turntables.
Brace
So
yourself
awkward.
for the crypto marketing campaign of the century.
How could we see the impact of this approval?
Right, because Bitcoin supply is finite and decreasing over time, I think there is a multiplier effect, but people don't really understand that yet. I've only seen a few people on Bitcoin Twitter commenting about this multiplier effect, but it is...
Real quick, Mr. Dom G. Didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that. Hit the wrong button. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for becoming a Chump Change VIP.
It's a very powerful effect because you have a very illiquid supply. We talk often about a supply crunch or supply shock, and that's because there's not much Bitcoin available to buy. Between thousands of exchanges around the world, maybe there's 1 million, 2 million Bitcoin available for purchase. There's probably $10, $20 billion of capital that's going to flood in right away. That's going to go into this small supply of available Bitcoin, maybe 1 to 2 million BTC. So that is really what drives that multiplier effect, because it's not that you're going to buy $1 of Bitcoin and the market cap goes up $1. Because of that limited supply and because of that rapid injection of capital, you have a multiplier effect. And that multiplier effect, I've seen numbers thrown out there somewhere between 2 to 3 times, 10, 50, 100. And if you factor in the multiplier, the Bitcoin multiplier, then Bitcoin can jump to $1 million very quickly in a matter of weeks.
And let's get an update.
See, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I mean, yes, theoretically, I'm sure he's right. When it comes to like the only other thing like we have to realize is with these ETFs, like BlackRock and all these guys are holding all this crypto in a fund, kind of like an exchange fund, right? More or less same thing. They have one wallet where all their shit stays in. You guys are buying an ETF. It's a piece of paper saying that you own this much. That Bitcoin actually doesn't move though. Inside BlackRock or wherever you guys are getting it, that's where the exchanges are happening. It's not really on the blockchain. So that kind of makes Bitcoin more scarce because it's again another long-term holder. So there's less Bitcoin on the market.
Date on the volumes. BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF volume tops GBTC today, signaling a market shift. So Bitcoin pumps over $43,000 as GBTC selling pressure weakens. So for the first time since launch, according to analyst James Seifert of Bloomberg, only about an hour into trading, but BlackRock's buying is ahead of GBTC's selling in volume so far. Today could be the first day where one of the newborn 9 trades more than GBTC. Now it looks like today will not be that day, obviously not done yet, as GBTC just passed BlackRock in volume. Either way, the selling pressure is weakening, and as GBTC outflows lessen and inflows of other spot Bitcoin ETFs rise, Bitcoin will continue to get taken off the market in record pace. And for context, BlackRock has accumulated over 52,000 BTC in the last few weeks.
That's crazy.
While MicroStrategy, known for their aggressive Bitcoin accumulation strategy, has accumulated 189,000 Bitcoin over the last 4 years.
Damn.
Meaning it's not a question of if, but when a supply squeeze happens. All while crypto in general, zooming out, looking at the whole market, speaking of stablecoins and central bank digital currencies.
A central bank digital currency, I believe, is a threat to liberty in this country.
Also seeping into the mainstream.
Because it creates a mechanism for the government to be able to wipe out your bank account or wipe out your dollars if you say or do something that the government disapproves of, as you see in places like China. As you see even happen to the Canadian truckers, the Freedom Envoy, losing access to their financial bank accounts. I think a central bank digital currency takes us further in that direction. Well, I explained that to Donald Trump, and I give him a lot of credit for being intellectually open, getting to the bottom of it. He took advice from a couple of other people who he trusted around him. A few nights later, I saw him mention that. And again, last night when he and I were at that rally together, came out strongly in favor of what I believe is the right answer, which is to oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency.
I am going to disagree with this a little bit, and I want your take. Give me your take on this down below in the comment section. Because just like credit cards were inevitable back in the day, they were happening either way, and now crypto.
And you know what? I've been saying a CBDC is kind of inevitable at the end of the day, but I mean, we don't want it, right? It's just, I feel like it's going to happen whether we want it or not.
Bitcoin is inevitable. It's happening either way. And Vivek is absolutely right when he says, if it's like China's, a central bank digital currency can control the people, can
100%.
Take away your freedoms.
1000%.
But honestly, we already have a system, credit cards, banking today, that already does that.
Yeah, he's not wrong, actually. He's really not wrong. We're already controlled with everything we can do, right? Like you can't go to the bank and actually take out more than like a couple $1,000s or $5,000 or something. There's like a cap. Right, you have to like give them like X amount of days to bring in your money because they got to save money for everybody else. Like it's so ridiculous how much they actually control you. And if your bank account or something gets hacked, like they only are responsible like in the fine print for like 125K or something, and the rest is like, oops, sorry, if you had $1 million in there, too bad, it's gone, we can't replace it. Like it's crazy.
Stablecoins can make it easier to do that, but again, our system today, we already live in that system. But the reason I say it's inevitable is because just like credit cards were faster than hand-to-hand cash, stablecoins are just going to be faster to transact and easier settlement times, faster settlement times globally. But for every interview where somebody describes the value prop of CBDCs, that's going to be a natural advertisement for Bitcoin and why Bitcoin's different. And looking at what else is happening in crypto, if we go to GameFi, another taste of what's coming next month, a clip of the Killer Whales TV show.
We addressed the demo. It looked like sort of like Sims 90s level quality. I've seen games with better graphics.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
I know this is kind of a shill. I don't know what, I'm just going to watch it, whatever.
Yeah.
It was a decision to build with a small team.
It sounds like a really bad business decision because you're competing against every other game out there.
We first want to build a game before we want to go out and ask people to get in. We were in development for almost 4 years.
Nobody cares about the excuses. When you're running a race and you come second, nobody says, oh, I came second because my leg hurt. The why doesn't matter. If you're in the race, you need to be the best.
No, it's not wrong there, actually.
Agree with Ran over here. It sounds like things are just kind of pieced together and thrown together fast and not realizing how much competition there is in the market.
So this premieres on Hello Labs' streaming.
And that's, you know what? Hello Labs is they have a coin, Hello. I don't know if it's a sleeper or not. Just throwing it out there. You guys might want to look into it.
Service in February, and then full mainstream release in March. Another game
again coming in March, so it's like you never know. Could be a couple months, and we might see something happen with that one. I don't
in
know.
the Solana ecosystem, which I do hold the NFTs, although I have not gotten a chance to play yet.
All right, I'm racing against someone who's raced 943 times and won 792 times. All right, okay.
Although it does look fun.
What is
Mix Mob Origin.
I have no
What is
idea.
this?
So again, the news today is that just like
What is
Red
Mix
Bull,
Mob? Anybody seen this before?
Bybit
This might be
also
a
sees
shill. I have
value
no
in-
idea.
It's coming down to the wire. It's coming down to the wire. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it's just cool to see
don't know
the
what that
building.
list
If
is.
you have played, if you have a different crypto game that you like, comment down below. I want to check out the good ones. And if we go to GameFi, we can scroll
Again,
down.
speaking of crypto games, if you guys know what that Pal World is, Mr. Andy over at Neoxa actually made a server for Pal World and Neoxa. It is not play to earn yet, but they are working on it. I was talking to him the other day in DMs, so shout out to Andy and the Neoxa team.
Down and see the newer ones, the lower cap ones. I pointed out
Again, look at Hello. That's the coin. It's at 12 cents.
some of them.
Crypto
be
has
worth
been a
the gamble.
technology that's controversial, and I think any institutional acceptance like the ETF is a good thing, is a net positive. That said, I'm very focused on, and our firm is very focused on investing in entrepreneurs building new utilities, new applications that are used by hundreds of millions and eventually billions of people. So let's focus on financial instruments.
Like this video I put out to you a couple weeks ago. Solana altcoins making millionaires in 2024. Get rich with crypto. Let's keep finding the gems so we are ready for this upcoming, hopefully upcoming crypto bull run. Be sure to subscribe.
Guys, appreciate Mr. Altcoin Daily, or Austin over at Altcoin Daily, for that. All right, let's get into the recap segment of things. What would you guys like to talk about? Again, Bitcoin and the market is in the red right now, but it's still holding pretty good, right? Still holding pretty good. Let's see. Y'all are killing me. Yeah, TNR, what the hell? Oh, man, let's see. What else you guys saying? Black Cat Crypto. Yes, I know life to that game pretty hard for like a whole day. It was awful. And I can't wait until it comes to Neoxa. It is going to be fantastic. Actually, can I? Well, let me see. Do I have Twitter? Let's get Twitter up. Let's see. I think they announced it on Twitter. Let me get this up. 1 second. Neoxa. This is where they announced it. Check it out. This is the game right here. Pal World server, Neoxa server. If you guys are interested, you can play on it. It is not play to earn yet. It says currently it's about the fun, not play to earn, but who knows what the future holds. Enjoy the journey. I personally reached out to Andy the day before they listed this. He didn't answer me, but I asked him about it. I was like, hey, and I gave him the guide to set up his own server, and the next day it was up. I was like, yes. And then I asked him, I was like, hey, is play to earn even possible on this? And he said yes. So huge Hadouken to Mr. Andy over at the Neoxa team. They are fantastic. I can't wait to see what happens with this, because I mean, playing Rust is cool, but it's super toxic, and it's like, it just gets you pissed off. I mean, there's other games you guys can play, right? Actually, you know what? I don't know if there is. There was Minecraft. What other games are there? I don't know if they have Minecraft server up anymore. I know they used to have, or they were going to have Fortnite or something, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. Pal World is like Pokemon with guns. Yeah, so it's a mix between Pokemon with guns, right? What's it called? Zelda, Rust a little bit, and I guess a little bit of like kind of Fortnite the way it looks. It's kind of neat. It's literally like a bunch of games, everything you like about all these games crunched into one. It's kind of neat. What's up, Hurricane Chuck? Good to see you, buddy. Miss Randy Hipper, good morning. Actually, we're going to be raiding you in a second. Let me get this situated. See if you're going live. Let me see. You are. Who makes your thumbnails, Randy? I would like to know. Is it you? I would like to know. All right, let's see. Any other questions? What else you guys like to talk about? Again, shout out to Neoxa. This is a great crypto, at least in my opinion. Mr. Joker Miner coming in hot with the 5 gifted memberships, dude. Appreciate you, buddy, for keeping the stream alive. Let's see who's got it. Mr. Overboard Tech, Miss Pocket Change. She's here. I didn't even know she was here. Good morning, Miss Pocket Change. Miss Randy Hipper has one. Pure Cane Shot. Did I miss somebody? I did. Oh, and Chris Hanley. Hell yeah. Congrats, guys. Congrats. Make sure you link your Discord, or YouTube rather, with Discord. You'll get access to the VIP chat, and I will be doing a Kaspa giveaway today at some point for the VIPs, so stay tuned for that. But go check out the community, members only community post on YouTube, and you guys will see how to enter, and I'll be pulling a winner probably this afternoon. All right, let's see. 4070 super today. Video today? No, probably not. It's a Joker. I gotta put it together. Unfortunately, my computer, if you guys didn't know, was completely bombed, so I lost my files that video layout was together. So now I gotta make it all again. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, but nonetheless, it's something I have to do at some point. I just don't know if I'll have time today. I gotta get my basement framed, man. It's been driving me nuts. Fully Electric says, I am here too, just listening as I get ready. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Mr. Alltrack says, congrats, winners, and good luck on the giveaway. Thank you very much for being a member for 8 months, dude. You're awesome. All right, guys, I gotta get out of here. Back to Daddy Duty as always. I hope you guys have a great and happy Tuesday. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the daily grind. And until then, I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out. Have a good day.
Eat shit, Gary. You are a loser. You always lose.
Number one, I don't care. Please stop talking about this shit.
You guys don't get to 100 likes. I'm going to show you my cleavage.